thousands of troops of the U.S.-led coalition began to pour across Kuwait's border with Iraq and head towards Baghdad.
Two young men apparently dressed in long black trench coats opened fire about an hour and a half ago at a high school just outside of Denver in Littleton.
Skies over Baltimore exposed a smoldering, scarred, and still convulsing city Tuesday morning after a day and night of fiery riots.
An Illinois police officer was shot and killed Tuesday morning, prompting a massive manhunt for 3 armed suspects.
A sheriff's deputy was assassinated at point-blank range while pumping gas into his police cruiser at a suburban Houston gas station Friday.
Just a few moments ago, something believed to be a plane crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center.
Islamic State militants waging war in Iraq and Syria.
And as they march, they slaughter thousands.
The most methodical execution of an American journalist.
Thousands of Christians living in Mosul, Iraq, forced to flee.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Matt down in the catacombs. So this whole New World Order bit is working out pretty well, don't you think, Rob? Yeah, I mean, just in general, don't you think things are really going pretty well in the world right now? I think so.
Clearly.
I mean, what do we got? We've got pretty much perpetual war all around the world now, you know, with whole nations being, well, either being annihilated like Iraq or threatened to be annihilated sooner than later, which is nice, sort of what Our Lady predicted at Fatima. You got the superpower politics going on, presidential politics now. We're running up for the White House here, which is fun. Now, that has become so compromised, so ridiculous, so pointless, that the electorate, especially young people, are plenty jaded enough to actually seriously consider putting Donald Trump in the White House next time around. I guess it's pretty much anybody but another Clinton or another Bush or some goofball Mormon, even Donald Trump, right? I guess that's where it's gone. I mean, actually, by comparison, the Donald looks pretty good compared to a lot of those guys up there on the roster. Yeah, I mean, he seems to be, at least he's pretending like he's honest, which is fun. And he's got his own money, which is handy. Elsewhere in the world, you've got, of course, our old friend, the Islamic extremists, who are, those are fun. Yeah. Now, nobody, nowhere, no how, apparently can do anything to stop those black pajama-wearing ISIS dudes running around doing the jumping jacks and cutting the heads off Christians. Nobody can stop them. No sirree. We fought the Cold War, did a pretty good job at that, but we can't stop these guys in the black jammies. No way. You just can't. You can't get at them. They're too tough. I think they're too stealthy. I don't know. I mean, don't we have like a Chuck Norris or maybe a Sylvester Rambo or somebody who can grab a 12 gauge and maybe a wrist rocket and do something about these idiots? No?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. We can't do that. We just have to live in fear and get ready for the next world tilt to take care of these guys. You know, so they're out there doing their thing. And in the meantime, we've got the total breakup of the family. You know, we got the Bruce Jenner scenario, which is fun to watch. And yes, he is fun to watch. We've got the Ashley Madison scandal. You following this one?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's good. I've enjoyed that. I mean, I wonder if you can help me, Rob. Why is it again that companies like Ashley Madison, which encourage us all to cheat on our wives, why are they still legal? Why are they able to get along and just keep on doing their thing? Do you know?
I guess I don't.
I don't either. I mean, up until about 1965, most U.S. states still had laws against fornication and cohabitation. Of course, those have gone the way of the dodo bird. But when it comes to adultery remains a criminal offense in 21 states still. So my question is, why is Ashley Madison not engaging in illegal entrapment, much like what prostitutes do? It's illegal, and you know, at least on the books, they arrest these people, but not with Ashley Madison. And I'm really not sure why not. Why are we blaming these guys for being sucked into this weird web on the internet with Ashley Madison when these companies are legally allowed to use the almighty power of the internet 24/7 to lure these guys into infidelity? It just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. They seem to be the problem even more than the poor slobs who fall for their gimmick, you know? And then, of course, we have Planned Parenthood murdering millions of babies. Old Planned Parenthood. They're fun. They're fun to watch. And, of course, we're supporting them, which is nice. Murdering millions of babies and harvesting their organs, keeping the little babies alive long enough now to grab brains and hearts and all the rest, and then market those for millions of dollars, making millions of dollars off slaughtered, unborn, mostly African-American babies. And again, it's just another indication of how we are progressing as a nation. We are really, really enlightened, you know, when you look at some of this stuff. It's no wonder that we can look down on the Nazis still, because obviously we occupy the high moral ground, because we're the most awesomest country, and I do mean awesomest. We are the most awesomest country in the whole history of the universe. We rock, as the kids say. And then there's the shootings. The shootings continue every day. You know, you just turn on the TV and somebody else is getting shot, whether it's a school or a theater or whatever. They continue all over the place, these shootings, and you've got the news team down in Virginia, which got shot on air last week, which is something kind of special. Everybody got to see the folks getting slaughtered on air as they're filming their news broadcast. And I guess the perpetrator in this case was suffering from some mental illness, I guess. But, you know, we're getting to the point where who in America is not suffering from some mental illness these days? We're all kind of going nuts, I think, you know, in this great New World Order of ours. The Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Goforth, I think his name was ambushed while he was putting gas in his car, and the guy just walked up behind him and literally shot him to death, and then he just pumped a few more shells into him as he lay on the ground, as this police officer lay dying on the ground. And, you know, as we pointed out down here, Rob, the dangerous rhetoric against law enforcement is now so out of control that, I mean, I don't know how you can blame the cops for the way things are going. Again, another indication that we're completely out of control.
So at any point when the rhetoric ramps up to the point where calculated, cold-blooded assassination of police officers happened, this rhetoric has gotten out of control. We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too. So why don't we just drop the qualifier and just say lives matter and take that to the bank? Thank you for your attendance.
And the extent to which it is escalating out of control is directly proportionate, I would argue, to the extent to which America is being systematically de-Christianized. And I wonder, isn't anyone just slightly worried about that? You know, like your Bill Maher types.
Right.
Does Bill Maher not go to bed at night, lay in his bed, and kind of wonder, I think we got this right, but maybe we don't? I mean,
he's so full of himself.
He's so full of himself, and these atheists are all full of themselves, and they're not looking at all to, I don't think, I mean, they just don't seem to care about the obvious fact that this whole country is going to hell. These atheist dudes, I mean, I'd love to ask them, are you sure you got this right? What's going to happen when you guys have run Christianity out of America completely? And that's what's happening. I mean, I see a Mad Max scenario. You can't possibly police millions of people who have been systematically stripped of a moral code from the kindergarten on up, through grade school, through high school, and even into college. You know, you see, back in the old days, the bad old days, of course, people actually did tend to police themselves. I mean, life was short, and the whole point of life was to get to heaven, to save your soul. And if you committed murder or adultery, or you shot up the local constable, there were sort of some social stigma attached to that, which, you know, was so strong that the vast majority of folks just didn't do that kind of thing. Just from a practical point of view, Christianity maintained the peace in all those wars of religion that these idiot atheists like to cite as Exhibit A for what's wrong with Christianity, historically speaking. All those wars, in terms of the death tally, didn't add up even to the single one bombing of Dresden, for example, and yet we keep hearing about how bad it was back in the old days of Christendom, because we're enlightened. We're so much better, even though kids are shooting kids and the whole thing is completely out of control. But now we're into the post or even anti-Christian epoch, and things are going to go from bad to worse. And I wonder if the atheists and the secularists really are thinking about what it is that they're working for. Because who cares? Who are we to judge? We've got to do our own thing. We're free, we're liberated, blah, blah, blah. We always hear that. But at the end of the day, folks, what do we really have now that Christianity is dying or is being made illegal in this country? We got murder, we got mayhem, we got rape, we got world wars. Nobody's sure what sex they are anymore. Nobody's able to trust anyone else. Breakup of the family. Kids are killing kids. Moms are killing their own babies in the womb. Adolescents are shooting up their schools. Mothers and fathers at home. Old people are afraid of being euthanized, and on it goes. So there's your New World Order. How are things better today than they were back in the bad old days? I'm not quite sure. I don't think anybody's even suggesting that anymore. We just have to accept that it's better now for some reason. My question is, wouldn't you rather live in a society where people followed a moral code, a moral Christian code of conduct, than a society where the only hope any of us have anymore to live, of living to see our old age, is through the raw power of a police state, which is certainly going to come out of the present chaos that we have throughout our cities and throughout all of societies. What a mess. So yeah, guys, atheists, secularists, keep on trucking. We really love your work so far. We're very impressed with all that you've done with the world so far. Really, seriously, well played. For the Remnant Underground, I'm Michael Matt, and we'll see you next week. If nobody shoots me on my way home, or if ISIS doesn't blow up my town between now and then, or if the feds don't throw me in a hole for some thought crime, or if the ozone layer doesn't fail and we all get fried before we have a chance to meet next week. Whatever. We'll see you next week, I hope. God bless you. I'm Michael Matt. We'll see you then.